This is the entire map file. It's a literal piece of paper with some dots and colors on it, and it made a Portal 2 test chamber. That is... Hi, so a while back I got a comment under one of my YouTube videos saying, since you've done so much with these test chambers, it would be cool to see if you could draw them from memory. And, you know, to be fair, I probably could, to like a frightening degree of accuracy. I mean, I've beaten most of the game blindfolded, the video for that is in the works by the way, so this comment actually brought up a different idea instead. What if, instead of drawing a map from the game, you could draw a map on paper and bring that into the game? Essentially, imagine the Portal 2 level editor, but in 2 dimensions and on paper. You could then scan in that piece of paper, have the computer do some magic, and turn that into a playable puzzle. Of course, most of you will realize that it isn't actually this simple. I've skipped over the elephant in the room. How do we get a computer to understand my scribbles on paper? I mean, I'm not exactly an artist, and even if I was, we're still going from an analog format to a digital map file. Some of you smartasses might be thinking, hey, just give it to an AI, you know, tell it to remake the test chamber. How hard could that be? Well, you see, when I gave this image of a Portal 2 test chamber to ChatGPT, it... Oh, what? Okay, it actually recognized that it was a Portal 2 test chamber. Right, I mean, that's fair, there's enough training data about that, but when I told it to recreate the test chamber as a VMF file, it... What? Okay, it started writing valid VMF. Is this thing gonna take my job? Of course, upon further inspection of the generated output, you will, in almost every single case, discover that it's just giving you a template, something believable. Not to mention that the chamber has no portalable walls, a floor with 3 buttons, 2 cubes, and, well, it didn't mention the entrance door. A computer doesn't yet actually understand how Portal 2 works. So we're gonna have to use a bit more of a caveman approach for this one. So while a computer might not be able to tell what a cube and a button is, it sure does know shapes and colors. Or to be more precise, mostly just colors. If we assume that the input data is a grid of pixels and we assign a color for each testing element, say red for a button, blue for a cube, and green for a door, we can tell the computer to place those elements at the relative locations of those pixels in that grid. And if you think that sounds super simple, it is. That's actually all there is to it. You don't need a fancy computer vision algorithm. Here's me implementing that solution for the first time. Let's do a 500 by 500 image. And let's just like do a snaking pattern, I guess. No, I won't. I'll do a Z. The ones are the black inputs. So the Z is going wop 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 wop. It's flipped, is what it is. Actually, maybe for the start, maybe let's do just full black is a cube, and then red is a laser, just for experimentation, and like everything else is just like blank space. 13, 14, you know what? I'm going 15. 15 by 15 is already big enough. I'm too lazy to do more than that. So we've got red, green, and blue there for like 3 different elements that we might implement at some point, and then there's like just a black little thing there. I should probably like do another set of cubes or something on the other like boundary end. Okay, you can barely see that. Let me turn down the brightness on the laptop. Look at that. So for the first row, there's nothing, and that's true. It's just air. Okay. Second row. Should encounter 2 cubes regardless. And there are 2 cubes, and they're spaced 1 apart. So I'm pretty sure it's the second, like, column. We're reading it column by column. So the second column, we've got 2 cubes. Third column, 1 cube. Yes. Fourth column is... Okay. Fourth column is a laser and a cube. So it misread this one as a laser, and that's a cube. After the first tests of my first initial implementation, I did notice a lot of inaccuracies. It was mislabeling a lot of the colors, and I tried various algorithms to deal with this. I tried picking apart colors by hue, by RGB value, sorting them in some abstract sense, but it was still failing. There were still some points where it was claiming that the clearly black rectangle was red or green or blue for some reason. I mean, you could sort of argue that there's more gray than black, but for the algorithm, that should be enough to determine that there is no dominant color. So, what's going on? This just kind of brings us to the second elephant in the room. Yeah, there's two. I don't know how they fit in here. What we're seeing here is camera noise. And yeah, a scanner is a camera. It's just taking tiny slices of the image and putting them all together. If you zoom into the scanned in image, you can see plenty of those red, green, and blue pixels. So what do we do? The most obvious answer is to give up. But the second most obvious answer is to just take a bigger group of pixels. If that one dot we took just so happened to be red, and we know that the original drawing doesn't have any red, well, there's a good chance that the pixel next to it probably isn't as red. If you just take a bigger splotch of pixels around that central dot and average the color inside of it, we'll get something very similar to what you see when you're zoomed out. That's actually what your computer's doing already when you zoom out. There's not enough pixels on your screen to put the entire full resolution image, so it's just kind of taking bigger blocks and averaging them out. And if we put this into our algorithm, we get surprisingly good results.
Black, 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 red, red, blue, green, blue, green, blue, green, black, black, black. Nice, okay.
Not a single pixel missed. Everything seems fine. So surely we're done now, right? We've got a computer to read our paper map file. What more is there to do? Well, yeah, you might have guessed it by now, but there's a third element. Portal 2 map files are well above my pay grade, okay? I barely understand them, they're very hard to work with, and it would probably be even harder to make a script that builds the map in Hammer or the in-game level editor, so yeah, no, sorry, you're not getting a map file from me. That's not happening. But one thing I am good at is making mods for Portal 2. And by mods, I mean some script that changes the behavior of things in-game, of the actual levels that are already present. So what if I took that knowledge and that experience to just build a chamber out of bounds of an existing test chamber? If you've ever been behind the walls of like any 3D game, you'll know that what you find is just an endless void. The game doesn't stop there, there's just nothing out there. So what if I put elements in that endless void and just called that my test chamber? In a source game, this does mean no lighting, no shading, physics and movement and collisions are kind of broken, but for the most part, we can at the very least build a prototype of a test chamber.
Developer 1. Oh. Oh, what the f***? Yeah, they're definitely here. They're just not being drawn. But that is the pattern. That is the pattern. I guess I'll go to like a normal map. Let's set the offset to here. Oh my gosh! There it is! Hold on. Let me grab the original drawing. You've got the cubes in the checkerboard formation and the little L shape at the top. And you've got the gel blobs. Wait. It's mirrored. Oh, it's mirrored. I think. And rotated. But still, like, you can see the idea. It's there. It is there. That's insane.
At this point, we've got all the individual parts working, and I even managed to get it rendering out of bounds properly, so the next thing on the agenda is logically making a test chamber out of this, which is what we came here for. The mapping process, if you can call it that, is fairly simple, but not easy. You see, while we've got only 3 colors to work with, not counting black and white, that unfortunately is also what makes this so difficult. You've only got 3 elements to work with. I've assigned blue for cubes, red for buttons, and green for doors, but that obviously leaves a lot of questions in the air. How do you connect a button to a door? You see, you could do some fancier image magic here and try to draw lines between those elements and somehow connect it that way, but I chose a simpler option, which was to say that if a button is close to a door, that button activates that door. If there are 2 buttons equal distance to a door, then both of those buttons are required for that door to open. There's also no door element, it's just kind of a box that glows in the dark, and if you've activated the required conditions, it disappears and lets you pass through. So with this, what can you build? The best I could come up with was something you'd see on like level 2 of a Portal mod.
is just a cube and a button that leads you to an extra hallway where you can then get another cube, which you can use to activate the exit door. And look, even though I understand this drawing is incredibly primitive and simple, I had so much anxiety scanning this in, running the script, and then loading it into the game, because if any of these pixels are read wrong, I have not achieved my mission. So fingers crossed. Huh. Okay. There we go. So now we have a little cutout of my chamber. I'm actually gonna cut around the edges. So I did kind of make one little mistake while mapping, as we all do. Unfortunately, though, that mistake was made with permanent ink. But I'm going to nicely just remove that mistake. There you go. Got a little hole in the bottom, and that's where the exit's gonna be. There we go. Look! It's the thing! It looks so good. Let me turn down the brightness on my laptop. That's the map. That is the level we just scanned in. I do not want to trust myself with this, but I want to say, yes, we're done. I do think we are done. I don't like that idea, because that felt too easy to be true. Okay, now we also need to crop the image, and feed it into the algorithm, and have it determine what we're doing. Trim to selection. Well, anxiety-inducing. Oh, loading it up. Oh no, I can't handle this. Oh, it's gonna crash. It's gonna crash horribly. See, it's spawning stuff. You can see up there. It is spawning stuff slowly, synchronously, but it is. It's loading the map in the most literal sense possible. Oh, we loaded in. Oh my god. It opens the door. Oh my gosh. No way. Actually. Okay. And then this would be opened by 2. Yes, okay. Oh my god, we've actually built a test chamber. So if you do that, you go through here. There's a room with a cube. Oh my god. No way. And then you go here. And you grab this cube. You put that on there. And the map ends. We did it! We built a test chamber! We built an actual test chamber! From a piece of paper! This is all the instructions that we gave it! Holy... This is all of the instructions that I gave the computer. This is the entire map file. It's a literal piece of paper with some dots and colors on it, and it made a Portal 2 test chamber. That is... That's insane. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you for watching. There's nothing after this segment. There's no sponsor on this video, which is also why I'd really appreciate if you subscribed, or potentially even became a channel member. It's a really nice way to support me, and it would really help me justify doing all the stuff that I do. Well, anyway, until next time.